So, where's Famous at?
411, what's the 411?
So what is the 411? And I wanted to talk about that because I know in one of the trailers that we got to see where Kanan was at, I guess, one of the grave sites. And we don't know who potentially Kanan was like there to see. We don't know if he was there to see his grandmother. We don't know if he probably could have been there to see Howard, or maybe it was Famous. Even though I'm gonna probably say no to Famous, I'm gonna strongly probably say no to that one on Famous because we don't know what potentially could have happened to Famous, right? We don't know if within the 3 months like prelude that somebody probably could have got a hold of Famous and probably either taken him out, probably killed him, or probably just said, all right, not to kill him, just to like send him off, right? To he goes away somewhere and he can't rap anymore. That's done. Like he has to be a plain regular person, right? Because I had this idea, I had this thought, because I was like, all right, since Lulu killed D Wiz and it fucked him up for life, sort of, until he got rehab and fixed. I was like, if he was to done it, right? Like let's just say, okay, Marvin was the one that had the gun on uh Famous and he pulled the trigger, then then it would have been two of his uncles that basically killed both his best friends differently, right? Like it happened, but they both basically did it out of the word, either because they was given the word to do it, or because they had no choice because there was too much heat on Famous. Because the story that they're telling is like Famous he's not a snitch, but they're saying that maybe he could have flipped, maybe he's in witness protection, right? They don't know what's going on with Famous, and I feel like that that big reveal could probably happen like maybe close to like the ending of like season 4, where they probably be like, oh, I forgot to show you in this flashback, and some shit happens and somebody's holding the gun on Famous and like, well, Fame, we heard some things and you can't be around anymore because you're a liability, and then he gets killed off screen. Now let me know in the comment section down below, do you think that what they're telling right now with the Famous story, like the curious case of Famous, like what happened to him, and let's just say like he does get killed off screen, we didn't see it, but he does get killed off screen, but then they show what happens in a flashback, like how would y'all all feel about like Famous's like death, right? Like how would y'all all feel about him as a character if they was to do it that way, instead of it just being like, oh, this is what actually happens to him? Because I like the idea of him he's probably hiding out somewhere, but then future Kanan would have never named his son after his best friend, which is why I still don't think Kanan was the one to have done it. I strongly, strongly doubt that Kanan killed his own friend. I highly doubt it. Highly doubt it. I just don't see it. But if Famous is actually dead and somebody did pull the trigger on him, then we probably won't get any of those informations until like I said, probably like close towards the ending of this season, of like, oh, somebody like killed Famous, because we know that Garcia is still putting pressure on Kanan to figure out like, okay, where is Famous, like what's going on. And then we see in another trailer that Garcia is, I guess, Garcia and Jukebox is walking together. So again, all of the information, and we remember when Captain Lewis told Garcia like, okay, we need information, especially with the whole Howard situation and with the Famous situation, because it doesn't make sense that both people, one is dead and one is missing. Like what happened? So I feel like they're not gonna get the right information, especially about the whole Howard shit. That shit is that shit ain't happening. But with Famous, I don't know. And what also probably like is gonna be interesting too is Jessica, because we know that Jessica in like the 3 month timeline that she did see Lulu at one point. So she, again, I bring her up because she's another person that she's seen a lot, she knows a lot, right? So I'm like, like what could probably happen there? Because if Famous is dead, then she could probably, what if she actually kills Lulu though? What if she pulls the gun out on him, be like, you basically lied to me? Ooh, what if, I don't know. Like, it's a lot that they could probably spin off with like Jessica, because I mean, they said in the last episode, when Kanan and Jukebox was having that discussion, like, well, maybe he's actually in Los Angeles. Now, that would have been an interesting twist, because then they could have said, well, he's the only one that did survive. Like, he got away. Like, he literally got away, and he's in, California, and he can never step foot back in like New York and Queens ever again. um I think it would have been dope if they would have done like how they did with Symphony, because Symphony was like the only character that got away and he didn't get popped, even though Rock was gonna pop him, but she let him go. So I would have liked it, the idea of maybe like Famous getting away, because remember the story is like, if you are a basketball player, or or you're trying to get into some sort of like entertainment or whatever, you're basically gonna die, and that your future is it for you. Sean and Zeke both died because of reasons, but I would have liked it, the idea of maybe like Famous surviving, and then maybe we could have seen him maybe in like season 5, right? Because like, again, they playing loosey goosey with the information on if he's like dead or alive. But also too, let me know in the comment section down below, like, do y'all believe that Famous is actually dead? Because I know that he doesn't really matter into the story as much, because he's just like, oh, he was there with Kanan, sold a little drugs with Kanan, but ultimately Famous wanted to get into the business of music, but because he killed Freddie, it sort of like messed up his mind a little bit. But the story that they telling is like, he's starting to become famous because his music is being played, but it's like, where is he? Like, where is he to like produce more music? Where is he so that way he can get more his name out there? But I think that if something ultimately does happen to Famous and he's end up dead somewhere in a ditch, then it's like, it happened. It is what it is. But all of this is just to like move Kanan's story like a bit further. That's what it really is, because none of the people that remained in his life didn't cross over into like power. None of them, except for Jukebox. But none of them like really like crossed over where it was like, oh, we got to see them. Now, I would have liked that the idea on like probably like towards the ending of like Raising Kanan, that they could have done like a time skip into the future, like how they did in Power, where they went backwards and they show like a young Ghost and Tommy. I would have liked if they could do that with Raising Kanan, where like some of the characters that didn't get killed off, what happened to them, right? Because remember that girl in season 1, I forgot her name, but Kanan had a crush on her, and I think she even had a kid or a sister. I forgot her name, but I know he had a crush on her, and she left, right? Symphony left, right? Jessica left, but Jessica's death is kind of like still up in the air right now, because if something happens to Famous, so that plot can still be waiting for her. But I would have liked it if maybe they would do like the time skip, and they go into the future, like I said, and then it could be like, oh, like Famous is not dead, but he's actually somewhere else. Rock may or may not be dead, and she's somewhere else, right? Marvin and Lulu either dead or somewhere else, right? I would like if they was to do like time skip, so that way we could probably see like what can happen. Like, they could do it in a way where it's like, when Kanan came out of prison, and he said that he told Ghost, like, yeah, he told Ghost and Tommy he went to go see his moms, right? And then we got more into that, like maybe he had a phone call, maybe he was talking to Famous, something, right? Something. But I highly doubt they're gonna probably give us that. I would like that. Again, this is too much story for Power. It's too much story, because if you go further in, you can give more than what is currently given. But I digress. But it's gonna be interesting, because they're playing, like I said, loosey goosey with the information on if Famous is actually dead or alive. But let me know in the comment section down below. Let me know what you guys think. Is Famous dead? Is he alive? Is he getting killed off screen, and that's it, and we ain't ever gonna know? Or will we get more in context of like probably like what happened to him? Because I'm thinking he's probably away somewhere. But if not, he's dead, and Marvin probably did it, or somebody else did it. Hey, it had to happen. But overall, like, comment, subscribe, and share, and I catch you all in the next one.